There's a war out there somewhere, a world-ending war that everyone knows about but no one can find. You could call it the Forever War, because despite humanity's best efforts, it seems destined to go on forever. But what if this foretold global conflict isn't a future event at all, but something we've already manifested through our collective beliefs and fears? When it comes to predicting the future, few are as famous as Nostradamus, a 15th century French prophet whose cryptic verses are said to foretell upcoming world events. And while many of his predictions have been debunked as fanciful or plain wrong, others have come true with eerie accuracy, which has only added to the mystery and intrigue surrounding his work. Think about how much you hear about World War III. By constantly talking about the coming war, whether in hushed tones around dinner tables or on social media feeds, we're essentially training ourselves to expect and even accept it as inevitable. This phenomenon is known as the self-fulfilling prophecy, where a widespread belief in a prediction actually causes it to come true. It's like a game of chicken where everyone is bracing for impact, so no one is willing to swerve first. It's everywhere. Armageddon, World War III, the New World Order, the Great Reset. Is it really just because we love a good scare? Or is there something more going on here? Some argue that the war narrative is used to justify military buildup, surveillance, and control, allowing those in power to maintain a sense of order and stability in an increasingly chaotic world. Others argue that the idea of a coming war is simply a reflection of our own anxieties and uncertainties about the future. Many argue that political leaders often use apocalyptic thinking to justify their decisions. Whether it's ramping up military spending, increasing surveillance, or taking a hard line on foreign policy, what if our constant talk of a great war is actually causing it to happen, with the state of mind that leads us to believe it's coming? If we want to break the cycle of fear and conflict, then maybe it's time to stop focusing on the war and start focusing on ourselves. If we truly believe that a war is inevitable, then we start to act in ways that make it more likely to happen. We become more fearful, more suspicious, and more willing to support measures that promote conflict rather than cooperation. It's easy to point to the recent past to see how this mindset has influenced decision-making, especially when you consider the countless conflicts and interventions that have been justified in the name of national security. After 9/11, George W. Bush declared a global war on terror. Likewise, the Russian invasion of Ukraine was framed as a necessary evil to prevent the country from joining NATO. These examples highlight how the fear of a coming conflict can easily be manipulated by those in power to advance their own agendas. Even if you don't believe any of it, you still can't help but wonder if it's possible. Movies like World War Z and video games like Fallout have normalized the idea of a global war and made it feel like just another plot device in an action movie. In fact, many of us have grown up with these kinds of stories, which makes it all the more difficult to imagine a world without them. Maybe there's a small chance that some of these theories might actually have some truth to them. But others argue that the war narrative serves an important function, allowing us to confront our fears and develop strategies for coping with them. After all, the human race has been telling stories about war and conflict for thousands of years. It's only natural that we would continue to do so in the modern era. And even if you reject the possibility outright, there's still a tiny voice in the back of your head that asks, what if just in case? Love him or hate him, Nostradamus has predicted everything from the Black Death to the French Revolution, the rise of Hitler, and the fall of Napoleon. And more recently, he's been linked to predictions about a third world war. Join me as we look at a few ways that WWIII may already be happening. It's never happened yet, but it will. Or maybe it already has. World War III, the long-awaited battle between good and evil. It's been a staple of religious texts, mysterious prophecies, and modern apocalyptic thrillers. Ancient texts like the Book of Revelation paint a grim picture of the end times, culminating in Armageddon, a battle of good versus evil that will ultimately decide the fate of the world. Across religions and cultures, similar stories have emerged, all pointing to a time when the forces of darkness will rise one last time before being cast down for good. It seems like no matter where you look or when you look, you see signs of this great war, which makes not wanting it to happen seem futile. If God wills it, it shall be done. And we're all just along for the ride. You can't stop what's coming, but Nostradamus isn't alone. Repeating a belief makes it real. And it's precisely this kind of attitude that many believe is keeping the prophecy alive. Politicians and generals also play into this mentality. But the influence of apocalyptic thinking doesn't stop at the highest levels of government. It seeps into pop culture as well. Some would say that this is all for nothing more than cheap thrills. Are we creating our own doom? So let us take a step back and ask ourselves why we're so obsessed with the idea of World War III. But what if there's something else at play here? Some kind of self-fulfilling prophecy? So is World War III already happening? Perhaps it's not the war itself that we should be worried about? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And remember to subscribe for more videos.